Create Studios podcast featuring Locksmith in the building. Thank you for coming out today, man.
Hey, man. Appreciate you, brother.
You've been on a tearing up YouTube. I just was playing the America Flow before you got here.
Thank you, man.
How you doing today, man?
I'm great, man. Appreciate it. We were able to make this happen. I had a shoot earlier. Was able to end quicker than I thought, and then I was like, "Yo, let's do it.
Let's fit it in. I mean,
get it cracking."
Part of entrepreneurship, man. You got to be ready when you can, man.
Absolutely.
Make it happen when you happen.
Absolutely.
I've been following your career pretty extensively. We can get it. I want to get into the stuff when you. So I was telling this with someone. I felt like when I first heard you, I was we had just gotten cable at the house. And I think
just got cable at the house.
We moved from like Milpitas to Union City. Then my mom got cable, and I'm like, this was a huge deal for me. And I was watching like shit I've never seen before. And then you were on there because MTV was big at the time because they weren't just playing videos at that time. They were doing like other stuff, right?
Yeah,
around the culture. And then you were there. And it was like this. It looked like a skinny Middle Eastern kid, man, on a stage with like just up tempo New York cats. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember if I remember it as accurate. This is what I remember seeing. Yeah. And then my ears perked up because they said you were from the Bay, and I'm like, what? Mm-hmm. And I was trying to be an aspiring artist at the time, or maybe I wasn't, but I was really into the scene. And I remember you got like the crowd going because like you could kind of feel like you could kind of sense like maybe they're messing, maybe they're not. And I remember like you had this stage presence, bro. You started getting the crowd going before you busted your flow. You got the crowd hype.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you busted your flow, and I was just like, this is just crazy. And you got the crowd going.
Yeah, man.
Do you remember that? Was Kanye West really a judge on that?
Absolutely. Yeah, man. That was 20 years ago, bro. That was 20 years. That was 2003.
So how did that work out? Like, did they catch you on the West Coast?
So what had happened was, so this is 2003. I had been rapping for a few years at this point, and what it really is stemmed from right here in the Bay Area from KMEL. So I had started developing a reputation as a battle rapper, starting like in like 99 or something like that. Before
grind time.
Yeah, before. This is before the internet, dog.
I know.
The internet existed.
You were a battle rapper before the internet.
The internet existed, but nobody was like uploading videos and stuff to the internet. This was when like the internet was just like chat rooms. Remember like message boards and all that kind of stuff?
AOL, yeah, I remember that.
And so I was doing battles, local battles. I did some Source. Remember the Source Unsigned Hype magazine? Yes. They had those battles here in Hayward.
Huge.
The first one I did was right here in Hayward, inside Southland Mall, about 2 minutes from here.
What? I didn't know about that. That's crazy.
That was the first battle. And then they had one. So I had been developing my reputation as a battler. And then when 2003 came along, KMEL was having these battles. Mm-hmm. Big Von. They were hosting these battles on Friday night, and everybody was up there like spitting bars and battling. Mr. Fab, the team, a bunch of other cats, and my boys was like, "Yo, man, you need to go up there." And I'm like, "I don't know." They was like, "Nah, dog, you got to go up there and do your thing." So I was able to go up there and battle, and I was winning every week. I was up there for like 5 weeks straight. And then Sway came in town and was like, "Yo, we doing a battle. We hosted it in New York and MTV and blah, 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 blah." And they had a tournament. And they were like, "Yo, KMEL sponsored the tournament." It was like, whoever wins this tournament goes to New York to battle for the crown. And I won that tournament. And they flew me, all expenses paid, which was really dope for me. It was my first time like going out to New York, staying in Times Square.
Wow.
And then...
Is that intimidating?
No, not at all, man.
I pumped you up more, right?
I wasn't intimidated at all. I was like, yo, I'm about to go out here and kill these dudes. You know what I mean? Like, I was very confident in my skills. Because honestly, at that point, I was gonna try to go to 106 in Park. You remember 106 in Park? They had the battles.
Yeah.
So I was like, yo, I'm gonna go up to 106 in Park and do the Freestyle Fridays. And actually, I remember everybody in my hood, because they used to have like auditions for Freestyle Friday.
Right.
And I remember everybody at the barbershop in Richmond was like, yo, we gonna buy like a plane ticket. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they was gonna fly me, just at some point to do that. And then this opportunity came, and I got I got everything paid for, and they flew me out there. So that was how it came about. And then what you were probably referencing. So it was a whole week of battles.
Right. Yeah, I'm not sure specifically which one I saw.
Yeah,
I think it was like a girl host or something like that.
Yeah, it was like, so it was a whole week of battles. They only, so on Saturday was like the final 8 people, you know, and that was like the one that everybody saw. That's when Sway was in the ring, and you had Carson Daly, Method Man, Ludacris. All these people were judges. And but before that, the whole week up into it, I was battling. It was a lot of battles, but they just so happened to televise my battles. It was like, yo, this dude is killing. That's when you had Just Blaze, Kanye, all those guys.
Yeah,
were,
that was the hot. Yeah,
it was a bunch of different people were the judges, and then I got through that week and got to the Saturday battle and got all the way down to my man RJ Payne, who was Rain Man back then. We were the last 2 people, and it got us a lot of notoriety. I could speak for myself that it got me a lot of notoriety, especially here back in the Bay.
How old were you when that was going down?
Oh man, I don't know. I was a baby, man. You know what I mean? But I could say that it seasoned me up real quick to just be in that line. You know what I mean? Like, it made me realize I wasn't afraid of the spotlight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, when the spotlight came on, I was just like,
I mean, that's one hell of a spotlight, Lock, because you have a hip-hop effervescent flow, man. It's very of the culture.
Thank you, man.
And very one of the few barrier people to do it, one of the few people we had to root for. And then you go to New York, where it's like considered the Mecca, right?
Yeah. I was excited because I loved like New York hip-hop as far as like Jay-Z, Nas, all that kind of stuff. You know, I was like, yo, I'm about to go to New York. Like, you know what I mean? I'm about to let these motherfuckers know, you know? So I was excited.
Did you listen growing up to New York underground hip hop? I figured you did.
I listened to a little bit of everything. You know, I listened to my sister. So my sister was more into West Coast stuff. So my sister was listening to Too Short, NWA, I was 40 and all that kind of stuff. And then my brother was more listening to KRS-One, EPMD, Big Daddy Kane, that type of stuff.
Right, okay.
So I got both.
You got both of the influence, which is important because it just felt like that in your flow. It was dope, man, because how hard is it to come out of the Bay Area with a hip-hop like style around you?
Yeah. You know, I never
looked at it like that.
I never looked at it like that. I just looked at it as, you know, I just had that motivation and that inspiration to just follow my passion, follow my dreams. You know, my sister actually was an MC before me. She was a rapper. Yeah. My sister was rapping when I was in junior high. She was, you know, doing talent shows and doing shows and going overseas and touring in Europe. She was a dancer and a singer first, and she started rapping. So I saw all that stuff. You know, I remember going to her shows when she was like doing shows with Black Alicious, 40, all those people like back in the early 90s.
Black Alicious?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so she was definitely doing her thing then.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so did that some of that kind of inspire to you?
I didn't think so at the time, but absolutely now I look at it, I'm like, yeah, like that inspired me. You know what I mean? Like totally, I saw my sister, you know, writing bars. She had her notepad out, you know what I mean? Writing and going to the studio. And back then, obviously, it was a lot different. I mean, it was a lot more expensive. You had to pay for reel to reel, you know what I mean? I mean, you had to pay for the 2-inch reel just to record. You know, it costed hundreds and thousands of dollars just to record a few songs at that point. So I remember my parents helping her and her investing into it and doing shows. And she was dope, man. She just, you know, it was just the timing. She ended up having a family and get married, and that kind of like slowed things down a little bit. But I was definitely inspired by that.
That's awesome. She gets to kind of live through you, I get a little bit now.
Yeah, well, she actually helped me out once I started rapping. She was like, what? I want to manage you, you know? And she kind of like helped me and guided me when I first started rapping.
Best managers are family, I felt like, in the industry.
It can be, you know?
It can be, but usually when I see a situation, it's like a family involved. I'm like, okay, it's a good situation there. I remember right after the battle too, it's when the Bay Area kind of started catching a little bit of hype because it felt like there was this era where it was like a lot of drug dealer rap. I kind of want to say, right? Like you couldn't really make it in the Bay unless you were really in the streets or you were dealing or something like that. So it kind of had that feel. And then like Frontline came about, right? And it's I don't know. I'm just on the back end as a fan, but it just seemed like EA Ski had noticed your talent and said, okay, let's pair you up with Lev. I think it was Lev.
No, me and Lev were already together.
You Lev were okay. Wow.
We had me and Lev were best friends. We still are. We were already rapping together before that, even while I was doing the battle. And so that was always the goal. I was just like, yo, I want to get out here and battle, but I want to, you know, I want my group, you know what I mean? I want to build our name.
That's dope. So so you presented that to E, or how did that go down?
Yeah.
Like,
So we were already had mixtapes. We were already working on stuff. And then another one of our homies, Balance, who was a rapper, was working with EA Ski. And we was already a fan of just like, what he does is, you know, particularly his production. We were like, yo, this production is incredible.
That's crazy.
And we met him on some occasions and stuff, and we approached him and be like, yo, can you do a song for us? You know, we would like to, you know, buy a beat from you or something. And he was like, yeah, you know, he told us his price or whatever, and we were like, all right. And he gave us a beat, and it ended up being What Is It? You know,
okay.
And it was just the song, you know, and then we decided to partner up. We're like, yo, this sounds good together. We need to like kind of put this together and work this together, and then we end up like teaming up to actually, you know, produce our, you know, our projects and stuff like that.
That was dope. So it was a pretty quick pitch, I imagine, then, right?
What do you mean? You said it was
a Ski, like basically to kind of team up.
Well, yeah, he actually, if I can remember correctly, he gave us the beat for What Is It, right?
Right.
No hook on it. He was just like, hey, see what y'all can come up with. I wrote a verse, Left wrote a verse. We went to the studio, recorded it. Ski was like, yo, this is fire. Come to my house, because he had a studio in his house. Come to my house and let's record it.
Okay.
We showed up. He was like, yo, I'm gonna do the third verse. We're like, yeah, it's all good. Let's get it, you know? And then he put the hook on it. And we were like, oh. This kind of catchy.
Went crazy, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, he was like, what is it? And we were like,
yeah.
Because we, you know, everybody knew that saying, you know what I mean? And so we were like, yo, this shit is dope. So he kind of took it back, and then I want to say he hit me up that night or maybe the next day, like, you know, this sounds really good. I think we should like work together. We should kind of do something. What do y'all think about this? I went back to Left. We made a decision. We're like, yeah, this will be beneficial for what we're trying to do. And then that's when we end up kind of like partnering with Ski and CMT at the time, and what they were doing. And yeah, that's kind of how that relationship began.
That's beautiful, bro, because you were part of a group. You caught light by yourself, obviously, without Left, and then you brought it back.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people do that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, you know what? At the time, it didn't even really seem like that to me. It always seemed like a collective, like this was our goal. You know what I mean? Like, this is what we were trying to do. Because we had already been doing stuff before. Like I said, we had been making making some noise. But obviously that MTV look, that's a huge look, you know?
Huge. Crazy big. That's how I first saw you.
Yeah.
And then, so, to me, it felt like, I don't know, I could be incorrect in saying this, but it was at the front line of the hyphy movement.
Yeah,
like, it started it.
Accidentally,
Accidentally. Like, well, there was... Like I said, it seemed like nothing but drug dealers before that. So when you guys came in, like, oh, these are just actual artists just making
just regular kind of dudes
like,
that are artists that make music.
Never really kind of seen the Bay before that, and then you see other groups come in after that. How was that feeling? Like, did you guys get booked immediately for shows and a feature? Like, did it just pop off? Like,
we were doing we actually, let me think. Before right after the MTV thing, obviously it raised the visibility of what I was doing, you know? And we came back and we did a show, because we used to throw these little underground shows, our own shows, at Blake's in Berkeley on Shattuck. And it's a small room. It's it's like downstairs.
I remember Blake's.
And we used to do these shows, and it was cool. We would have, we would kind of book. Actually, we would like book artists that we knew, like kind of like for our lineup.
Yeah.
We have guys, like 4 acts or so, and it was good shows. They were, good little turnouts. But then when we did, after that MTV, that motherfucker was packed around the corner. You know what I mean? It was like packed. People were trying to get on our shows. And I remember that night, JT, the Bigger Figure, came through. Obviously, EA Ski. A lot of Bay Area, like, known rappers came through to be like, yo, we see what y'all doing. We, a lot of people touched the stage, rocked the stage that night. It was a dope feeling, We were like, yo, this shit is already starting to pop off, And then when we did the song with Ski, What Is It? And obviously, that ended up getting played in the clubs, and we didn't even know. We were just like trying to build, and we were working on an album, and then we started getting calls, and Ski or certain he was getting calls, and he was like, "Yo, these DJs is telling me this song is blowing up. So we didn't really know. And then one day we went into the club just chilling, and they played that motherfucker, and everybody was singing it. What is it? What do we have here? I was like, damn, like people know the words to my song. This is crazy.
I remember that era. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just I just remember it very vividly being in San Francisco at some club off Broadway, and I remember the DJ playing it. And it just came on. Everybody's like, oh. I was like, oh, shit, you know? But the hyphy stuff started, I mean, the word hyphy and being hyphy already had existed for a while in Oakland.
For sure.
The first time I heard the term was at that show that we did after I did the MTV battle in 2003. I want to say it was probably like June or sometime like in the late spring or summer of 2003. And at our show, I think we had the team, we had Mr. Fab, us. We were all, you know, this was our show. We had all them in the lineup. That must have been huge. And I remember when Fab, I mean, but you got to understand, we were all starting off at this time.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? We just, you know, we just had our fans. It wasn't, you know. So I remember, you know. So obviously you had us from Richmond, you had the team Fab, they from Oakland, you had people from Berkeley, you know what I mean? People from all around the Bay were at the show. And I remember it was just some dudes in the front just going crazy, you know what I mean? I was just, but it wasn't like just dancing, it was kind of like violent a little bit. And I was like, yo, Fab.
Like mosh pit and racing.
And I could tell they was from Oakland, you know what I mean? Because I'm assuming these is Fab's people. I'm like, yo, Fab, what's up with your people? He's like, man, they just hyphy, you know what I mean? And that was the first time I heard hyphy, and I was just like, but it never got out of control, you know what I mean? It was just like, just very hyper. You know what I mean? Because before that, when you think of a show, you just think of people like, hey, you know what I mean? Yeah. But it was just like, we were like, yo, they go, what's going on? Is this about to get violent? It's like, man, they hyphy. I was like, all right. And that was the first time I heard that word. And then as time kind of moved on, and at that same time, you got to think Keek the Sneak's T-shirt, blue jeans, and Nike was bubbling.
Okay, yeah, that was right after his High Tech album.
Yeah, that was right after that. That was the Copium album.
Yeah.
So that was before. So we was actually doing shows with Keek at that time. You know, we was doing like local shows.
Right.
I think it was, I don't remember the name of these clubs back then. You know,
they
what
all
I mean?
changed too.
They all changed over time. So, but over there,
stuff.
like Jack London, we was like going to shows and doing shows with all these cats, and yeah, that was that time, man. It was like the beginning. We didn't realize it, but it was, I guess, would you consider? Say that was the beginning of the hyphy movement.
I felt like it was the beginning of the hyphy movement, you know, and then we seen with the hit song production and going into that. And then it just got big, man.
Around 2006.
Yeah, and like especially with you, because like we just like, I didn't know if we could expect hit songs from you. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it seemed like you were this lyricist, battle rapper, and then came What Is It? And then it was like a perfect club song, and it just went crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was a period of time where you moved to New York, right? Was that?
Yeah, I had relocated. I didn't like move permanently, but I was basically, I had relocated out there, you know?
Okay.
So what happened was the stuff with Frontline, What Is It? That was popping, you know what I mean? We were doing shows. Like you said, like, are you getting shows? Like, yeah, we doing shows. It was mostly like Northern California, Southern California, Vegas. We're doing shows around there. The hyphy movement is in full swing, you know, Bay Area artists is in demand. We weren't touring. I didn't really even understand what touring was at that point. We were just basically doing like club dates, you know what I mean? Spot dates with clubs. So that's basically like the club promoter is throwing a party, Frontline performing live at, you know what I mean? Whatever, you know, 550 Barneveld, you know, San Francisco or whatever. And they would just have a bag for you, you know? And, you know, you would do that twice a weekend, you know, 2-3 times a weekend.
Right.
You go out
Friday,
to Stockton,
Saturday.
You go out to Sacramento, you go out to Fresno maybe, you know what I mean? And that's how you made money that way, you know what I mean? And it was good money, you know, just to perform for like 10 minutes at a club, you know? And that was kind of what it was going on for a few years. And then the sensibilities, I want to say, of just like fans of the industry started changing. The internet started getting more prevalent, you know. 2006, 2007 kind of saw that era kind of end a little bit.
Yeah.
and things started changing, and even myself, I was like, all right, what am I gonna do? You know, I was trying to figure out what I was gonna do. So then I knew I wanted to keep making music, so I just kind of went back to what got me noticed in the first place. You know what I mean?
So you took it back, like what comedians do. Comedians go to local open mics.
That's what I went back to stand up. Basically, you know, because I kind of look at battle rapping like that, because it's part of, because like you have stand up comedians and you have comedic actors.
Absolutely. Right. Sitcom guys and stuff like that.
Exactly. Or even film, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then they can transition into drama.
Right.
And doing serious roles. But not all comedic actors are great stand-ups. Not all stand-ups are great comedic actors.
Yeah.
And sometimes the lines are blurred, and you know,
Absolutely.
so I kind of look at that. So I just kind of went back like, all right, well, how do I still want to do music. I'm you know, writing and recording music. How do I kind of, you know, this internet, this YouTube thing is like a way I'm seeing other artists get noticed. So how do I use that in my way? Okay, let me go back to battle rapping. You know what I mean?
Wow.
I went back to battle rapping. That's when you start seeing the the grind time stuff.
You lit it up. I mean, I remember your battles with Daylight, and well, you had so many epic ones. Disaster. That was like a promo, I think, but there was so many. Let's talk about that era. Isn't that trippy? Being a battle rapper, like dissing and destroying the guy, and are you the kind of guy that does research on your people? And
yeah, man. I mean, so what happened was. So like I said, I had been battling since I kind of first started rapping, just on accident. I just kind of stumbled into this, like found out I had the skill of battle rapping, you know? And as time progressed, battle rapping changed, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
It went from being kind of like this completely spontaneous thing of you don't know who you're gonna battle. You know, street battles you may not know, or, you know, it's just completely like, rapping about what's in front of you, like, oh, you got some camouflage, you know what I'm saying? Like
more of the skill, right?
Well, they're both skills. It's just a different kind of a skill. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So when you're being completely improvised, that's the way it was. And also you were rapping over beats. You know, all those battles on the MTV, stuff that you were rapping over beats. So you got to flow. You got to go with the beat. You got to do crowd participation. You know what I mean? It's a different type of thing. As time progressed, battle rapping evolved, and the first time I saw it in that way was watching like those Smack DVDs of like Murder Mook and J Mills and all that kind of stuff. When I saw that shit, I was like, oh, that's dope. And I was like, yo, I wanna get into that shit. You know, this would be perfect. So I start studying that and kind of like learning how, like, okay, a cappella, you're not conformed to a beat, and now it's all written basically.
Right.
You know what I mean? You mix in, you know, some improvised stuff, but it really gives you a chance to, you know, fine tune your, you know what I mean? Exactly. Attack your opponent in a very strategic way, and you can be more theatrical, and you know what I mean? There's a lot of different things. And we were already mixing written rhymes and punchlines and stuff up to that point. But when you saw the Smack stuff, with the way they were doing it in New York, it was completely memorized, you know?
Right.
So I was like, oh, okay, I'm about to start getting my bars up, you know?
They had bars on there.
And then I wanted to, and then the Bay, then I start seeing, you know, everybody watching World Star Hip Hop at the time. Remember World Star Hip Hop, the website?
Yeah.
You know, I start seeing these battles. I'm like, wait, they right here in the Bay. So we reached out to Grind Time, and we start making those battles happen.
That's awesome. Yeah. And so, how was that lifestyle? Was there money involved? Was it just more for the press?
I didn't get paid for any of those battles. Wow. You know, I just did those battles at that time for exposure. I was reestablishing myself as Locksmith. You know, because at that point we had so much success from Frontline. You know, we were performing at the Summer Jam 2-3 years in a row. The Bomb concert. You know, up at the San Jose. So we were performing at these big things. We had these big songs on the radio. We're getting played, you know, 100 times a week from, you know, between the two stations out here, Sacramento. And so people, the success that I had from Frontline had no connection to the success that I had from battle. Like, people didn't even make that connection. Like, some people
fans.
They were like, oh, that's the dude from, you know.
That's cool though.
So those two worlds. So people who didn't really know that. So I was just like, all right, well, let me just go back to the, you know what I mean, to this battle shit and get, especially because it was doing so well on the internet. I was like, oh, this is perfect,
So it felt like a different world, obviously, being.
It's a different world. I mean, it's part of the same world, but it's like a different country. You know what I mean?
And what are the fans like in that compared to your music fans? Like, they're more active?
Well, I'll just use an example for a live show. When you're performing at a club, at that point, which was mainly my performances with Frontline, we performing at clubs. People are there to party. People are there to have a good time.
Right.
People are like moving. You keeping the party going, the energy going. When you're doing a battle, you have to rewire your mind because the reactions, the intensity is going to be completely different. There's no music, so you're not hiding behind the beat. You got to like be able to captivate people with your words, and be dope at it. So you have to just kind of rewire your mind to the way people are going to react and the way people are going to initially receive you. It's a totally different beast.
What was the toughest battle you felt like you faced in that era?
So look, I'm not going to say this in a arrogant way. I didn't really pay attention to my competition.
Got you.
To me, it was more of a performance. So I just looked at the people like, okay, who am I performing against? I'm going to take whatever information I can at this time, watching their battle, seeing what they do, what I feel like would rattle them a little bit. You know what I mean? Like the things I would say would touch a nerve.
Oh, yeah.
I would look at those things, but my main concern was just the performance. How am I going to perform this? How am I going to convey it where it comes across very clean and precise? So to me, every battle it was just like kind of like the same thing. It didn't really matter to me.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You see all the world battle raps going on now, like India and
it's crazy.
Have you seen? Like, they're crazy.
I've seen some. I mean, I'm not.
No,
I know it exists. You know what I'm saying? But
sure, an Instagram clip here and there.
I mean, it's worldwide.
Grind
hip hop is worldwide.
Grind Time, Smack URL, Fresh. It felt like that started that. Don't you feel?
I feel like Grind Time really started the internet wave.
Right.
Because at that point, Smack was on DVDs. URL didn't come until after Grind Time. As far as like their heavy YouTube presence or internet presence, Grind Time was the first one to really take it to the internet, because it came out of that. It was kind of birthed out of that. What's the shit that used to go down in Minnesota in the Midwest? Scribble Jam.
Scribble Jam.
All that stuff. It kind of, a lot of the rapper, it kind of came out of that world. It was kind of backpackish.
What is Scribble Jam?
Scribble Jam, I never participated, but Scribble Jam was a festival, a hip hop festival that they used to have. Mainly, it happened in the Midwest for many years. And they had a battle competition. And if you won Scribble Jam, you know what I mean? Or you got off at Scribble Jam, it was a lot of recognition. This was underground.
In Minnesota?
In Minnesota, Ohio, different places, Indianapolis. I never participated. So anybody Scribble Jam fanatics is out there, I wanted to. Once I heard about it, I was like, oh, but by that point, when it got to like, I want to say 2008, Scribble Jam was done. This was like early 2000s.
Okay, that's when Grind Time was really on fire.
So Grind Time didn't really start popping off until like 2007.
Yeah.
That's when I first saw it. I want to say like 2007. And I didn't start participating 2008, but a lot of those people, you got a lot of those people from that Scribble Jam participating in Grind Time because it wasn't like necessarily super street. But
Grind Time was more of the hip hop.
It was more of the hip hop.
Yeah. Smack was more street,
but yeah, exactly. But Smack wasn't living on the internet at that point.
Exactly right. You said it was just DVDs, right? Which is amazing in itself too.
It was DVDs. You know what I'm saying? And then Grind Time was becoming so successful. It was doing such great numbers. Then you start seeing all these other kind of international places from overseas, and then URL kind of infiltrate. I ain't gonna say infiltrate, but they kind of took over.
They did take over.
They took over. You know what I mean? Because they kind of had because a lot of the guys from the street stuff, they was battling in Grind Time at first. They came over to Grind Time because Grind Time had the clout.
Right.
Hollow the Don.
They had big names.
Arsenal, all those guys. I remember them coming out the Bay, hanging out with them. We had our battle out here. They was all doing that. And then Smack, I'm assuming I don't know Smack. I know some of the people over there, but they saw like, yo, we need to take over this market. You know what I mean? And they kind of really got it.
They did a great job. I mean, it seemed like they had a lot of backing behind them. They had usually a big artist presence at their shows. Yeah, but it definitely felt like Grind Time started it. Man.
Grind Time was huge, bro. When they had their battles in the Bay twice a year, it was down in West Oakland.
San Jose too, right?
It was the big battle that they had they had it once or twice a year. Maybe more than that in Oakland, and it was ridiculous. It was like thousands of kids packed into this place battling. You know what I mean? It was incredible. It was a great thing for the Bay. It was beautiful, man. Beautiful thing to see.
And it was crazy seeing that culture come out of the Bay Area. Yeah, you know, and I forget the host. Was the
Lush,
host name?
yeah.
Lush, because Lush is on No Jumper right now, right?
He was on No Jumper.
He was on No Jumper, but that was the crazy thing for him too.
Yeah,
but it was amazing to see Lush in that Eminem movie come out, where they're kind of depicting Lush without Lush's, like, I guess.
I didn't see that. I kind of heard
I just heard about that, but just seeing all that develop was just wow. How does that feel, bro? Because you're kind of like a Grind Time Hall of Famer, which is going to go down in like history when you look at battle rap.
I'm appreciative.
You know?
Like I don't take no credit for Grind Time and the success. I feel grateful to be a part of it, and to have a legacy in those formative years, you know what I mean, of what they did. So yeah, shout out to Grind Time, Direct, and Lush One.
When you see kids now, with all the stuff they have with Twitch and all the platforms like TikTok and Instagram, knowing you came from a career that you were still kind of based around TV, right? Mm-hmm. How does that feel? Do you feel like, hey, I could have done wonders in this market now with the Instagram page and all that?
Talking about as far as battle rapping?
Just as far as your career, like if you had to start now, or do you feel like the time that you started your career was golden and you wouldn't replace that? You're not really.
I don't look back in retrospect like, oh, I wish it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I look at it as like, yo, I mean, TikTok and Instagram are tools. I think there are some beneficial things of the way it was back then, and I think there's some beneficial things of the way it is now. I'm not one of those people that's intimidated by technology and the way things are now. Like, I'm on TikTok, my TikTok is popping.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I feel like if you're talented, it can translate on any platform. It doesn't matter. It's just a way about presenting that talent or that gift that you have, So that's what I do, whether it's Instagram, whether it's TikTok, whether it's Facebook, whether it's YouTube, whether it's, live performances. If you dope and you know how to convey that, you know how to present it, it can work on any platform, You just have to figure out a way to make it work for you,
Yeah.
So, that's the way I look at it. When I talk to young artists now and they're like, yo, man, like I was talking to my nephew, who's a dope, he's a dope artist. He can rap, he can sing, he's super dope what he does. And he was like, I'm like, yo, nephew, you need some help. Let your uncle help you out. What's good? What you want to do? And he was just like asking me questions about, social media and TikTok, and he's a youngster. I'm like, yo,
that's kind of crazy. That's
you should be on that because he sees my numbers. He's like, yo, I'm just like, he's like, man, because he's thinking like, a lot of people think I got like this huge team, like it's like 50 people behind the stage, like posting. Like, nah, I'm posting everything. You know what I mean? I post I sat down as a veteran. I looked and I was like, okay, how did this shit work?
Right.
How do I make this work for me? How do I get, what are things that other people that they're doing that's working, and how do I utilize it for myself and take it beyond? Because you have to have, to me, it starts with confidence and supreme confidence. I have confidence in myself. It's just about getting in front of people and people being like, oh, this shit is dope. So, because every time I do that, that's what they say. So I'll be like, okay, well, what's popping right now? TikTok. All right, well, let me just look and watch this shit. How can I do it? Oh, okay, this is what shit works. Okay, then let me use this. That's why I have the lock lift. Every time I post a lock lift on TikTok, I'm getting like half.
I love the lock lift.
Yeah, I'm getting like, because I know.
Do you really do lift?
No, I don't.
Or is
really
that's just a skit?
No,
okay.
no.
That's just a skit. Gotcha.
I mean, it's not. It started off as a way of me saying like, okay, how can I market my music? How can I connect with my fans?
Right.
It started off as me picking fans up and playing them my music.
Got
but
you.
I was just like, it probably would be doper if I rapped the shit live. Like, like I pretty much record my songs in one take anyway. Like, why don't I just rap it for people live? They probably get a kick out of that, So that's what I did. And then I saw how well it did on like Instagram, and I was like, you know what? Now that we're more focused on social media, let me gear this for social media. How can I do this? So then I start formatting it for Reels, you know, for TikTok, for Shorts.
Yeah, you figured that out.
I was just like, okay. And then, and instead, like, you know what? Instead of just doing 1 or 2 songs, let me do damn near all these songs, perform all these motherfuckers.
Oh, so these are written songs then?
These are my songs.
Got you. I didn't know. I mean, they sound good because they're live. I thought they were freestyle.
Yeah, no,
these sound great.
Some of it is like kind of freestyle type songs, but some of them are songs. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm just performing them in different vehicles, and no pun intended. You know what I mean?
No, yeah.
But I'm like, okay, you know what? Let me give y'all a music video. Let me give you a lock lift. Let me give you a micro video. Let me give you, you know, these different things to give people a different way to experience the music and the songs. And that's what I was trying to explain. You know, I was explaining that to my nephew, like, yo, this is how I'm doing it, you know. But everybody is different. You got to figure out how to make it work for you. Lock lift is what I felt like, oh, okay, this is dope. This is getting some traction. Let me take this up a whole nother level. You know what I mean? And it's all organic, you know?
It really works because you have the close-up angle. You're in a car that's relatable, and you're spitting bars.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I come from that hip hop fan base, you could say. And so we look towards you as that guy. You know what I mean? Like, you're like a J. Cole for us, for sure. And so I know my fans that are like 40, 30, 20 that are, all right, we look to that. We look because we still like the bars.
Yeah.
You know, we still want to hear bars.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what, at the end of the day, that's never going to go away. That's what hip hop is. That is the nucleus of hip hop. You know what I mean? It's substance, it's bars. Everything else is great. I love it. I love the melodies. I love the beats. But at the end of the day, the substance is what's going to carry you. You know what I mean? The substance, everybody can relate to some real shit. Like, yo, he's speaking some real shit.
Right.
Or, I don't like it, but it triggered something, you know?
Yeah, and I don't think anyone in these younger days is like, I don't like it. They're just going to say it's not for me.
Yeah.
But what I like is the fact that, because I was trying to picture what the rap scene would be like 20 years ago. You good on time? I'm sorry.
I'm good.
I thought you were
No, you good.
But no, it's like, you know, what it was going to be in 20 years, and it's like, well, there's room for everything now. There's just room for...
That's the beauty.
Right?
Like, when you're talking about...
There's a hip-hop scene, there's a content rap scene, there's a street rap scene.
Yeah, no, when you talked about, like, starting back then or starting now, I think what is one of the benefits of now is that because of technology, because of how we share music, art, information, content, anything, is so much room for whatever you're trying to do. There's really no excuse.
Right.
You know, you don't need very much. You don't need, all you have to do, you just got to have a will to do it. You know, and you got to have the will to, and you don't even really have to have that damn near. I mean, if you just got to get up. I mean, you can like create stuff, and you ain't got to never leave your house if you don't want to, if that's your thing. You know, there's a place for all that. And I think that's beautiful but at the end of the day, the cream rises to the top.
Cream rises to the top. When the cream meaning that you have to be creative and not introverted, which is tough as an artist, right? Because a lot of artists want to be introverts. They don't want to go out and...
Yeah, I'm kind of like that. I'm not really, I mean, I can balance it a little bit better, but if I had to say one thing, I'm not a party person. You know what I'm saying? I never... I'll go out to a party, have a good time from time to time, but that's not like... you know, my thing that I just love doing, you know, going out and just being at all these spots. I'd rather be creating.
And it's a tough balance, right? Coming from your era, because I felt like coming from our era, you had to be out there.
You had to go out. So that's why, I mean, I think that's a benefit because I have that in my bag. Like, look, I got to go out, I'll shake hands. What's up? What's going on? I know how to maneuver that. I'm not just so locked in a room where it's like, maybe you're so used to social media nowadays. If you're just coming up, you may not know how to interact with a person in real life.
Right. I love the YouTube videos you're doing. America, it's great. Did you
you.
direct that? How does that go down visually?
Well, I had the concept.
Because visually it stands out.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, because I feel like today, when it comes to music videos, if you're not going to do something that visually stands out, then what's the point of doing it?
It's just blends in too easily.
It just blends in, you know. I mean, your fan base may see it. So with the America video, I actually had I came up with the song first. I actually came up with the lyrics first. I didn't even have a beat, and I was just like, I know what I want to talk about. And then I got the beat from my man C Lance, and he's produced for like just so many dope underground hip hop artists, like, you know what I mean? And I was like, I think this will work perfect for this. And then I kind of finished it, you know, with that beat in mind. And then I was like, okay, I need a video. And I always wanted to do a video with like Uncle Sam, because he just like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
you
like
had the character in there with the dangling dog. That was genius, man.
It's like, you know, like the evil Uncle Sam. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Kind of like
great.
manipulating people, or, you know what I mean? Kind of representing like that evil side of our, you know what I mean, of our country. However you want to view it. You know, I don't like to explain my art too much. I want people to interpret it how they interpret it. But I had the idea, and I had all these symbols and things that I wanted in it, and I wanted it to be very simple. You know,
Right.
I didn't want it to be like a million different scenes. I kind
It's
of
not a lot of cuts. It's just
it's just right there. So you follow the words.
Absolute.
You know, I didn't want it to be just moving super fast. I wanted it to be able to follow the words. And I presented it to my man Justin. I felt like he could, for Marmo Films, I felt like he could execute it the best. And he definitely had his input. Was like, well, let's do it like this. I was like, yeah, let's, you know. And we just went and knocked it out in a day. You know.
That's beautiful. I do music full time. So you do music full time. Talking to my music full timers, sometimes I walk out in like normal life and I just see a guy and I'm like, you know what? If I wasn't doing music, I'd probably be that dentist guy my mom wanted to be. Like, like if Locksmith wasn't an artist, what do you think Locksmith would be doing? Do you ever go out in life and see like normal people and be like, you know what?
Yeah, I mean, I still look at myself as a normal person. I mean, I would probably be teaching. Yeah, I'd
Really?
probably be teaching. Yeah, that was,
in high school systems or college? Or?
I don't know, but I'd probably be teaching. I mean, that's kind of where my track. That's the track that I was on.
Really?
Before.
Education.
Yeah, education for sure.
Okay, that's dope. That's dope. Something I want to talk. Do you practice Ramadan?
Yeah, I just finished.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we talked about that. So what is that like when you're an artist and Ramadan happens? So I imagine it's hard to tour.
Well, the thing about Ramadan is you fast from sunrise to sunset. So there's no food, no water. You abstain from food and water from sunrise to sunset.
That's crazy.
But however, when you're traveling, you can't fast. So if you are, so the way it works is you have up until 9 days or the 10th day. I don't want to misquote it, but basically if you're at if you leave your house and you're at one place for 10 days, then you can start fasting. But if you're if you're gonna be gone for 3 days, you don't fast for those 3 days, and then you come back and you leave for another 3 days. So touring is one of those things where you're on the road every day.
Yeah.
So basically, you can't fast. You know,
It'd be impossible
unless I don't want to misquote that because you know there are different jurisprudence, different schools of thought on whether, okay, well, if you fast on this day, if you know, you can fast if you're on the road for this many days or that many days. So I don't want to misspeak, but generally speaking, if you're traveling, you refrain from fasting and you make up the days later.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And has that affected your career at all? Like good ways, positive ways, negative?
Well, just as a human being, I think it's good for me. You know, I find it beneficial from I look at Ramadan as a reset. You know, every year it's kind of like, okay, I've been doing it since high school.
Right.
You know.
What does it do for you? Like for someone that doesn't do it, what is it? Helps with your health, obviously.
Yeah, I think your mental health, your spiritual health, like what it does is the purpose of Ramadan is to like refocus on the Creator. You know, it's like if you're not eating or drinking over time, you know, it wear down. You're like, man, I'm thirsty, I'm hungry. You know what I mean? But it kind of slows things down. To me, I just get more of a clearer head. You know, it's like I'm in a constant state of meditation or prayer because I can't eat. So you have to really be conscious because you get irritable, you can get tired easy. You know, you have to kind of like dig deeper to kind of accomplish tasks.
Helps with discipline.
Oh, so it takes a lot of discipline.
Huge discipline.
And it's not like nobody is there to tell you like, hey, you just picked up that cookie, you know? I mean, it's just between you and, you know, and the Creator, you know?
Right.
And you have to be like, oh, okay. I gotta refrain. I gotta hold back. So I kind of I feel like it helps focus me.
I've never, you know, I've been an artist, never really made it. But when I see you doing the New York radio thing with Sway, you know, and all the other personalities out there, what's that feeling like, you know, for a guy that hasn't made it? Like, do you sit there and go like, this is pretty cool, man? Or is it just like you're in your artist mode, doesn't affect you, But it just seems like a huge thing when you're just in New York, you know, sitting with the radio guys.
Perception is a crazy thing, man.
Yeah.
You know, because the way you perceive things, the way I perceive things, or someone else, everybody has their own
feeling toward it.
Vantage point.
Right.
You know, of the way they perceive things. So when you say something like somebody that made it, to me, I'm like, what made it? You know?
Right. You're always looking at your lowest. Yeah, right,
yeah,
right.
I'm grateful to still do what I love. I'm grateful for those opportunities, whatever it may be, whether it's MTV, whether it's BET, whether it's, you know, going on the radio with Sway or K Slay, rest in peace. Being able to display my skills or do whatever I'm doing. Like I just finished doing something with the San Francisco 49ers just yesterday, you know. I just look at them as opportunities that I'm very grateful for. I do look back at some of those things. To me, it's not so much whatever platform it is, you know what I mean? Yeah. But it's me like, yo, I accomplished, like I wanted to go on here and spit, you know what I mean, and display my artistry and do that and touch people. To me, that's the most important thing. I try not to focus on the finish lines. I try to focus on being in the moment of what I'm doing and appreciating that. You know, sometimes I do, but that's a tricky thing because that can take you up and down.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
For
so,
sure.
And I get down too, just like everybody else, but I feel like if you can focus on what you're doing or the task right in front of you and appreciate the opportunities in what you're doing, this is the beauty of it, because it's going to be over eventually. I mean, at one point in time, we're all going to be laying down, you know? So I'm very grateful and appreciative of it. And I just think I'm always trying to get better. I'm like, man, I got to do something better than that, you know?
Right.
That's when I look at stuff like that. But yeah.
Does Locksmith believe in crypto?
What do you mean? I believe it exists. What do you mean?
Do you own any?
Yeah, I own some. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's terrible. It's lost all its value right now, you know?
I heard it pretty bad, too. It's good to see you didn't get caught up in that NFT.
I didn't jump. I'm just not that type of person. I don't jump on shit just because it's like, oh, this is the new thing. Like, I mean, I recognize it. Excuse me. I try to understand it. But
do you understand it?
I don't gamble. I'm not a big gambler.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So some of that stuff to me, it seems like gambling. Like, oh, you know what I mean? It's just like shooting dice to me. I don't gamble. I will make educated choices, you know what I mean, on certain things that I want to do. So I got some stock. I got some crypto. I have some stock that is kind of, you know, I bought some stock that's volatile, some that's kind of like leveled out, you know what I mean? Right. I'm not a stock expert. I don't claim to be that, you know, but I understand, you know, the value of certain things, and you know, so, but I have some. I'm not one of those people that just like, I remember everybody's like, yo, crypto, take all your money and put it in Bitcoin, money is done. I'm like, what? Like, what are you talking about? You know, not saying that, you know, currency won't evolve and change over time, because obviously it will, but I'm not gonna just gamble on stuff that, you know, I don't think
it's a big gamble. It's like, what the hell's going on with all that?
I mean, some people made
a lot of money
real fast, but way more people lost money. You know what I'm saying? Way more people. So
what did you think about the whole NFT hype? What was your stance on that?
I kind of look at it the same way. I mean, it's just a tool.
You didn't even get involved with that, right?
I mean, I know I did some NFTs for people and certain things like that.
Oh, nice. Okay.
That, you know, like some songs that were like NFT songs. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
I just come back. I mean,
look, it's a tool. It's just another method. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It's just another, what do you call it? It's just another form of currency trading or whatever you want to call it. You know,
yeah.
I don't look at it as like, yo, NFTs are coming. Change your, everything is over. You know, same thing with the AI stuff. It's just like, to me, it's a tool.
That's scary, isn't it? That, like, what happens when you go on YouTube and find an AI song with Locksmith and a guy you've never heard of? How would you feel about that? Like, you see that happening now, right?
I'm gonna take it down, or I'm gonna collect money on it.
Okay, so do you see do you know about ChatGPT?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not an expert, but I know what it is.
Have you used it?
No, I haven't used it for nothing yet.
Okay.
To me, that's just lazy, but I get it. I mean, look, certain things to make your life remedial, tedious tasks. Like we just did a video with the director. We used some AI to, you know what I mean, for the video. I've been looking into AI as far as like just doing things that are remedial for me. Like it's
Right,
like, you know,
right.
if I can do some editing and do some things where it's just like, all right, I ain't got to sit there and do all that shit. Perfect. But at the end of the day, you're going to need a human's touch.
Absolutely.
You know?
It is getting a lot of press though when someone says, "Oh, this label is ran by AI," or "This video is directed in AI," or you know what I mean.
Yeah,
Stuff.
I mean,
You think you see yourself with any type of marketing with AI in the future?
yeah, it's a tool.
It's a tool.
AI is a tool, just like anything else.
That's great.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like auto-tune. You know what I'm
Auto-tune
saying?
is kind of AI.
Yeah,
right.
it is.
Little
That's what I'm
AI.
saying.
Like
It's a
fixing
form
your
of,
voice
it's a tool, but at the end of the day, it's a tool. You know, so you use that tool for what it is, you know? People have different preferences. I just personally like real shit,
Yeah.
you know? But I think that AI is a tool.
It is kind of like with that weird era that we're
AI
going,
is
real shit. And,
AI
you
is
know,
dope, but at the end of the day, it's still impossible, meat.
Absolutely. It's just crazy. Well, Dan, we're at the hour, man. So I appreciate you, Lock, for coming in, bro. You're crazy killing with like the Lock lift. I'm glad you talked about that because I see that blowing up on the gram. Anything you want to fill us in? You got coming up this week or music for 2023, 24?
Yeah, we got a lot of new music coming. I'm doing some live shows. You know, I got one up in Sac. You can just go to iamlock.com. I got some stuff up in Sac, down in LA again. I'm gonna be going on tour. And a lot more music coming, man. We're going to be very busy this year.
This guy is busy, man. Support Locksmith on his Instagram, TikTok, social media, YouTube. Go stream America right now. That thing is hot. I appreciate you coming in. You're a well-traveled man, bro. You bless us with a lot of great content, man.
Hell yeah,
Thank you so much.
I might walk around Southland Mall for old times. Is it still open or is it just a building?
It is so dead.
It's dead?
You know, it's just crazy because like Southland was really like when you said it, right? That was 20 years ago when they did it was popping.
And look, and I'm from Richmond. So coming to Southland was like, oh, Southland. You know, it was like this big thing. And I was like,
it was a big mall. Now it's still, they still have a lot of shoe stores. So the 3 or 4 shoe stores. They still
got like the Foot Lockers.
They still got Kicks. They still got, so people still go there just for shoes, but it is super. Malls are dead. Do you feel that? Malls are dead?
Some mall, I mean, yeah, when you go out to the nice malls, they still going.
They're still going crazy, I guess, in the Valley and stuff like that, but I hear Bayfair's
been dead for a long time.
Well, there was the one in Oakland, too.
It was kind of coming up again. And then COVID just destroyed it.
And then the one in Oakland, Eastmont.
Eastmont's been dead a long time, man. God bless his soul.
It's trippy.
I remember I got my first pair of Jordans from Eastmont. No. I mean, I think
first pair of Jordans was Eastmont?
I think so. I think I got my first
pair. And it was popping then?
No, I'm lying. I got my first pair of Jordans from Hilltop.
Okay.
Hilltop.
Oh, Hilltop Mall.
Richmond. Yeah, that's gone. Yeah.
That's your city. The
white and red 4s.
There's a lot of history from Richmond, man.
Yeah.
This guy's a part of it. Lock, want to thank you for coming on today, man. Appreciate you. Like I said, go add all of his social media. Great content. I appreciate you. Anything before we get out of here, my guy?
Nah, man. That's it, man. Bay Area.
Bay Area. We out. Appreciate y'all. Create Studios Podcast featuring Locksmith.